The report arrived on Adam's desk at exactly 9:42 a.m. Prenatal blood panel, confirmed pregnancy, normal levels. A sticky note from the hospital still clung to the edge. You may now schedule your first scan. The moment he looked up, a new message popped onto his screen, from Janet. It was a photo, taken in a bed that wasn't theirs, her bare thigh visible under rumpled sheets, her fingers teasing her lips. And the caption? I slept with Nathan, and I'm carrying his child. Honestly, it felt amazing. Adam didn't blink. He didn't clench his jaw, didn't throw the paperweight sitting by his laptop. He just leaned back slowly, eyes still locked on the screen, as a quiet hum of voices began rising, like static leaking into a signal. She didn't mean it. The baby's yours, she's just scared. You're always working, you ignore her, this is your fault too, Adam. She needs you to fight for her. Say something romantic, something like, even if it's not mine, I'll still raise it. That's all she wants, unconditional love. The comment stream was endless, as if a live audience had been embedded into his life. They had opinions, they had judgments, they had sympathy, for her, but none for him. He sat motionless, letting the chat flood across the invisible glass of his mind. None of it made sense. And yet, all of it did. Janet knew he'd get the report today. She waited for it. Timed the message like a torpedo. Not to confess. Not even to hurt. To provoke. She wanted something from him. A punch to the wall, a scream, a broken glass, a desperate masculine reaction that proved he still cared, that he still saw her, that he wasn't stone. Come on, Adam, react. You're the man, step up and claim her. If you don't fight, she'll think you don't care. You're too cold, that's why she turned to Nathan. Nathan. Adam let that name drift in his mind like ash. Back in college, Nathan had always been the charming one, the one who laughed loudly, clapped shoulders, made girls feel seen. But Adam had been the one who stayed, who worked, who paid bills, who proposed. He had loved her, quietly, for a decade. But Janet never craved peace, she craved chaos that proved something. Adam looked back at the photo, then at the report, then at his empty desk. No wedding frame, no signs of a woman ever being here. He liked it that way, quiet, controlled. Bro, you seriously going to stay silent? Just tell her you still love her. Tell her it's okay. Say you'll raise it, even if it's not yours. The voices were louder now, begging, judging, trying to carve empathy out of his silence. Adam finally moved. He opened his browser, typed slowly, precisely. Abortion pills near me, and clicked enter. Adam met Janet when they were 11. Her father was the CEO of a regional logistics empire, and Adam's parents, both stern-faced stockholders in a conservative investment firm, had just merged portfolios with the Lewd conglomerate. Their first meeting was staged like a PR shot, a garden party, complete with overpriced lemonade, an imported pianist, and two children seated side by side for a future partnership photo. Janet had hated her dress. She said it out loud, loud enough that her father turned, horrified. Adam had smiled, silently offering her his jacket to cover the frills. She accepted with a grin, sticking out her tongue at the camera after the click. That moment stuck with Adam. She wasn't like the other girls at those functions. She wasn't pretending to be sweet. She was chaos, but in the kind that made him breathe easier. She had color, fire, recklessness, and even at 11, he was calm enough to know he liked the storm. They grew up in boardrooms and private schools. He was always 2 steps behind her, by choice. She was magnetic, dramatic, louder than the room. He was her shadow, her driver, her walking notepad. If she wanted hot cocoa at 3 a.m., Adam was outside with a thermos in 10 minutes. The first time she kissed him, she had just broken up with a musician. She cried into his shirt, then suddenly looked up and pressed her lips against his. He didn't move, didn't ask. She pulled away and laughed. See, you're safe, that's why I like you. That was all he needed. For the next 8 years, Adam quietly built his life around her. While Janet switched majors 4 times and ran through internships like candy wrappers, Adam graduated early, took over part of his father's firm, and began constructing the tech-integrated logistics arm that would later become their joint empire. When he proposed, she didn't cry. She just stared at the ring and said, "You're serious?" "I always have been." Janet looked at him with that old smirk, the one from the garden party. "Then okay, I guess I'll marry you." They didn't sleep together that night, not for months. She had rules, emotional conditions, a moving scale of affection based on how seen she felt, how worshipped. And Adam, patient, loyal, stupidly in love, followed every step. When she finally let him touch her, 2 months after their first wedding anniversary, she whispered afterward, "Well, since you love me so much, I guess I'll agree," begrudgingly. He froze. She was smiling. She wasn't joking. Adam never forgot that night. It wasn't the intimacy that scarred him, it was the tone, the calculation, the sense that for her, giving herself was a trade, a delayed favor he'd owed her since childhood. The next morning, she asked for the East Suburban project. He said yes. Catherine had warned him months earlier. "You're not in a marriage, Adam, you're in a hostage negotiation." Catherine had always been honest, too honest. She'd grown up with Adam through the same elite circles, had known him when he was still a quiet boy with perfect grades and too many expectations. She worked in strategy now, reliable, underpaid. She never wore makeup unless required, but she had this warmth, a patience that mirrored Adam's own, except hers came with self-preservation. She stayed out of Janet's way. Janet hated her. "She's obsessed with you," Janet once spat after Catherine texted a reminder about a shareholder dinner. "She's always inserting herself, she wants you." Adam had sighed. "She's my chief of operations. She's in love with you. She has a boyfriend." "She's boring," Janet snapped. "The type men settle for when the real women walk away." He didn't respond. There was no winning when Janet spiraled. Then there was Nathan. Janet had introduced him as a college friend, though Adam had only ever seen his name once, on a list of scholarship recipients from their university's art department. Nathan was charming, slick in a way that made other men bristle. He laughed too loudly at Janet's jokes. He always had an arm around her shoulder in photos. But Adam said nothing, because saying something would have sounded insecure, and insecurity was the first crack Janet loved to pick at. Over time, Nathan started showing up more often, at company events, at private dinners, then inside Adam's office under the pretense of branding consultation. "Trust me," Janet had said, "he's a creative genius, he's good for the company." He was good at showing up uninvited. Good at whispering things Janet repeated later as her own ideas. Good at calling Adam boss, with a smirk. Still, Adam let it slide. Because Janet had always been like that, spiraling when bored, flirting with danger when ignored. She wanted to feel something, and Adam's calm made her feel invisible. She told him that once, after slapping a wine glass out of his hand during a fundraiser. "You never react," she hissed. "I could set fire to your car and you'd just say, 'Let me call insurance.' You make me feel like I don't exist." He'd picked up the broken stem of the glass and replied quietly, "I exist for both of us." She stared at him like he was a stranger. That's the problem. Their marriage became a stage. Janet played to the audience, friends, family, the ever-present social media swarm. She posted perfect photos, wrote captions like, "My rock, my storm, my calm, my war." And Adam, he kept working, kept building. Behind the filters and captions, they slept in separate rooms. Catherine noticed. She began handling more meetings solo, shielding Adam when Janet stormed into the office, demanding attention in the middle of key presentations. "Is to kiss into Monday too? He's urgent," Catherine would ask gently. "Are you sleeping with him?" Janet once snapped back. The room had gone silent. Catherine hadn't flinched. "No, but if I were, I wouldn't need to beg for his time." Janet had laughed. "You really think you're clever, don't you?" "She thinks with discipline," Adam had said. "You should try it sometime." That had been one of their last public appearances together. Even then, he hadn't raised his voice, not once. Even as Janet's posts got bolder. Even when she uploaded a video saying, "Love isn't enough if the man beside you doesn't know how to feel." Even when rumors swirled about Nathan's growing involvement with her company. Adam stayed silent. Because silence, in his world, wasn't a weakness, it was a strategy. The first post went up on a Thursday afternoon. Adam was in a strategy call with a Japanese partner when his phone buzzed 7 times in a row. That never happened unless something was on fire. He tapped the screen. It was Janet. Or more precisely, Janet's account. A photo of her in a white summer dress, laughing under an umbrella Nathan held above her head. He wasn't smiling. He was staring straight into her eyes, one hand brushing her cheek. The caption below the image read, A man who loves you will show up, even when it rains. Live comments rolled in beneath the post. OMG, this is beautiful, real love energy. Honestly, she deserves someone who's present, not just rich. I feel bad for her, she's practically raising that baby alone. Where's Adam though, still locked in his office? Tragic. This better be the real father, they look perfect together. Adam didn't respond. He finished the call, sent 3 follow-up emails, and closed the blinds. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to sit and just breathe. That dress, the umbrella. He remembered buying it for her 3 years ago on a rainy honeymoon in Florence. She'd thrown a tantrum that day because he took a work call during lunch. He'd spent the evening making it up to her. When she smiled again, he'd thought they were okay. Now she was wearing that same dress in another man's arms, while carrying his child. The comments didn't bother him, not yet, not more than the silence between them had. But then came the second post, a close-up of 2 hands resting over a softly swelling belly. Her caption read, "He said it doesn't matter whose it is, he'll love us both anyway." That one burned. Not because it was Nathan's hand, but because it was a lie. A script written by Janet to weaponize the very thing Adam had refused to say. He hadn't told her he'd raise the child regardless of paternity, because he wouldn't. He wasn't a placeholder. He wasn't an accessory to someone else's happy ending. That evening, Catherine knocked once and stepped into his office. "You should see this," she said quietly, holding her tablet. "I've already seen it," Adam replied. "She's trending again, full support in her favor. The media's painting you as absent, emotionally unavailable. There's a headline calling Nathan the real husband." He nodded slowly. "She's baiting you," Catherine added, "trying to force your hand. Let her." The next day was critical. A corporate dinner had been planned for weeks, high-stakes negotiation with foreign investors tied to the East suburban expansion. Adam had rehearsed the numbers with Catherine 3 nights in a row. He even had renderings prepared on custom tablets for each seat. But 30 minutes before dinner began, Janet walked in heels, lipstick, and with Nathan beside her. The room stilled. She laughed, brushing off the tension. "Adam, darling, you didn't tell me this was happening tonight. I had to invite myself." Nathan chimed in, too relaxed. "Good to see you again, boss." Adam's jaw tightened. "We're in the middle of a critical round." Janet ignored him and pulled up a chair. "I'm the mother of your child," she whispered sweetly. "You should be a little more inclusive." Catherine caught his eye across the room. "Don't engage." Adam nodded and turned back to the investor. The client, a sharp-eyed executive from Seoul, cleared his throat. "Is this a private dinner?" "Yes," Catherine answered. "Only senior partners and legal." Janet twirled her wine glass. "Well, I'm legally married to the CEO. That should qualify." The client chuckled awkwardly, but Nathan took it a step further. "I've recently joined as creative advisor." Janet thought it'd be great for me to observe. Adam set his glass down with a soft click. "No one ran that by me." Janet smiled wider. "Some things don't need approval." By the main course, Janet was already tipsy. She interrupted twice, spilled wine once. The room's energy died fast. When the client's wife complimented Adam on his design sense, Janet leaned over and whispered loudly, "He wouldn't know passion if it walked in naked." Laughter died, the client frowned, and then came the final blow. When Catherine stood to present the logistics backend in fluent Korean, Janet muttered, "You see, that's his real wife." Adam froze. The client put down his fork. His wife dabbed at her lips. Nathan tried to smooth things over with a joke. It didn't land. 10 minutes later, the client stood and said, "President Wang, I believe we've seen enough. We'll follow up in writing." Adam stood to shake his hand. "I apologize for the disruption." The client nodded politely, then turned to leave. "We expected professionalism." Silence followed. As soon as the door closed, Adam exhaled. A year's worth of strategy, gone in 2 hours. He sat down slowly, the air thick with disappointment. Janet looked at him. Her smile had faded. Her eyes searched his expression like she was still waiting for a response. A scream, a demand, a reaction. But Adam said nothing. Nathan tried to speak. "Hey." Adam held up one hand. "Enough." Janet scoffed. Don't be dramatic, I was just playing. You just cost the company a $48 million deal, Catherine said coldly. Janet turned sharply. No one asked you. She's right, Adam said quietly. Janet paused, watching his face. Are you angry? She asked, voice softer. Silence. Are you jealous, or hurt? Nothing. Do you feel anything, Adam? He stood. Walked over to the table, picked up a napkin, folded it neatly, and placed it on his plate, then turned to her. His voice didn't waver. I feel exhausted, Janet. His smile twitched. That's it? No yelling, no scene. He looked at her calmly. You're not worth that energy. Her jaw tightened. Fine, she snapped. Then why did you slap Nathan? Adam hadn't realized he was standing that close to him. He stepped back slightly, looked down at his hand. It hadn't moved. Yet. Nathan cleared his throat. He didn't hit me. Janet narrowed her eyes. But you wanted to. Adam met her gaze for the first time that evening. Why are you here, Janet? She stepped closer. Her perfume was loud in his memory, sweet, expensive, rotting. To see if you still care, she whispered. He said nothing. She tilted her head. Did you hit him for me, or for your project? Janet barged into Adam's office 2 days after the dinner collapse, her heels hitting the tile like accusations. She dropped a printed HR proposal onto his desk. I want Nathan promoted. Adam didn't look up. Creative lead, she added. It's not even that high, it's symbolic. He skimmed the document. He has no record in logistics, no experience in system design, and no credentials. The only thing he symbolized is chaos. He's passionate. Adam folded the paper and set it aside. That's not a qualification. Janet crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. If you loved me, you'd understand. He didn't flinch. That line doesn't work anymore. It's not a line, she snapped. I want support. You always say you care, but when it comes time to prove it, you're nowhere. He leaned back in his chair. I gave you control of 2 departments. You tanked the Q2 report, blew the PR contract, and forced an apology tour after insulting the finance team. Now you want to reward the man who ruined a deal worth more than our entire 2020 valuation? Janet shrugged. Nathan didn't ruin it, you did, with your cold silence. You think being emotionless makes you strong? It makes you replaceable. He looked at her. She took a step closer. I know you, Adam. You've always needed someone to tether you to reality. Without me, you'd turn into stone. I keep you alive. Adam didn't reply. He simply reached for the proposal, slid it into a drawer, and said, meeting in 10, don't be late. Janet's voice turned icy. You're choosing Catherine again, aren't you? His eyes narrowed. She's always beside you, always stepping in, watching me, competing with me. Janet's voice sharpened. She wants you to hate me. No, Adam said quietly. She wants me to survive you. Janet blinked. That one cut. That evening, Adam went to visit his father. They sat on the garden balcony overlooking the city. Old money. Old silence. His father poured him tea and said, You're handling this wrong. I know. Then why do you persist? Adam looked out over the lights. Because I thought, maybe she'd stop. His father nodded. Your mother didn't. Adam glanced sideways. She started small too, his father muttered. First it was my time, then my income, then my opinions, then my name. Adam said nothing. She threatened divorce twice a year, used your birth to corner me into buying her properties, screamed in restaurants, smashed phones. Still, I stayed. Why? His father gave a small smile. Because real men endure, we carry storms in silence. Adam took a long sip of tea. That's not love. His father didn't respond. On the ride back, Adam sat in silence. Janet was everything his mother had been, except louder, smarter, more theatrical. She knew how to collapse just enough to garner sympathy, but never enough to vanish. The next week, Catherine came into his office holding a folder. 3 leads quit this morning, she said. 2 others are handing in notice tomorrow. Janet's been contacting them directly, and Nathan's been poaching quietly under the guise of side projects. Adam didn't move. She's gathering your entire dev skeleton, he nodded. Let her. Catherine frowned. You worked 2 years to build that team, I know. She's using them to start her own platform. Nathan registered a shell company under a Lewd subsidiary. I know that too. Catherine studied him. Are you waiting for it to collapse? Adam shook his head slowly. I'm waiting for the part where I stop feeling. A pause. She only slept with you once, Catherine said quietly. I know it's none of my business, but she told me it was a favor. Catherine's breath caught. Adam smiled bitterly. She rolled over after and said, happy now? Catherine looked down. Her voice was thin. You never told anyone that. Would it matter? She used your love like a leash, she whispered. Adam nodded. She always has. The next day, Janet posted a video. She was seated in a sunlit office, one of the properties Adam had purchased years ago. Nathan stood behind her, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder. Today marks a new beginning, she said brightly. A venture built not just on experience, but on passion, family, and real understanding of what people need. Behind them, Adam recognized at least 6 of his former engineers, their code, their structure, their UI skeleton repackaged. The logo said, Nova, Logistics, rewritten. Live comments buzzed. This is what real innovation looks like. She's radiant. You can tell she's finally free. That other company was always run by spreadsheets, not soul. This woman deserves everything. The screen blurred slightly. Adam realized he'd pressed his fingers hard into the edge of his desk. Catherine walked in. You saw it? He nodded. They used your backbone, Adam, your tech, your contracts. He didn't look at her. They used you. Still, he said nothing. Catherine stepped closer, lowering her voice. Say something, anything, because I swear to God if you let this slide, I'm not letting it slide, he murmured. I'm letting it stack. Catherine hesitated, then nodded. That night, Janet sent him a message. Saw the look on your face in the mirror behind you. You still care, admit it. Adam didn't respond. At midnight, she posted a blurry photo of Nathan kissing her cheek. The caption read, building something new, with the man who actually shows up. He stared at it for a long time, then opened his contacts, scrolled down, paused on one entry. Lawyer, divorce. He didn't call, not yet, but he moved it to his favorites. Janet's livestream went viral within 4 hours. She sat in a softly lit room, backlit by books she hadn't read, a single glass of untouched wine beside her, and eyes glassy with perfect restraint. The title of the stream was calculated, surgical. When love becomes silence, my truth as a pregnant wife left behind. She sniffled once before beginning. I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't stay silent anymore. Not when people keep asking where Adam is, why he's not beside me through this pregnancy. The comments flooded in immediately. Stay strong, Queen. Where is he though? You're literally carrying his child. He doesn't deserve you. We knew something was off with him. Tell your story. We're listening. Janet continued. Her voice trembled in all the right places. He used to be gentle, kind, but as soon as the company took off, I stopped being part of his picture. He buried himself in work, and when I needed him, when I cried in the middle of the night, he wasn't there. She paused, tilted her head. Catherine was, though, always, and maybe, that's why he stopped coming home. The screen exploded. No way. Catherine? I knew it. So that's why he looked so cold lately. He's cheating. That explains why Janet's been hurting and he doesn't care. He's literally emotionally abusing a pregnant woman. It got worse. Within a day, 3 sponsors quietly pulled out. An investor's assistant called and said, it's just hard to align with this much negative sentiment right now. Catherine's social inbox exploded with hate. Homewrecker. How can you sleep at night? Destroying a pregnant woman's life? You make me sick. One of the posts used her graduation photo, another exposed her personal number. 2 of her accounts were hacked and plastered with memes showing her as a snake wrapped around Adam's arm. Catherine sent Adam a short text. Don't worry, I'll handle this. He didn't reply, but he read it 5 times. Internally, Adam was already moving. He didn't post a denial. He didn't call a press conference. He sat in silence and watched everything burn, letting the smoke veil his next steps. Behind locked folders, he gathered screenshots, audio clips, legal correspondence, original code stamps, timeline receipts. He printed them all, bound them, numbered them. He called in his lawyer. I want this airtight. The lawyer skimmed through Janet's latest post. She's tripling down, publicly framing you for emotional neglect and cheating while she's trying to launch a new company. That's strategic libel. Adam nodded. Make it count. For 3 weeks, he said nothing. And every day, the comments cut deeper. This man disgusts me. First he's cold, then he cheats, with someone working under him? I'm boycotting every product from his company. I hope Janet leaves him and never looks back. Friends stopped calling. His college roommate ghosted him. A childhood business partner released a vague tweet about disappointed in men who smile in suits but rot inside. And Janet? She glowed. She uploaded a series of behind-the-scenes photos from her startup. Nathan standing behind her, her hand on her belly. Caption: Building my future with someone who never made me beg for love. That night, Adam received a message request from her. We don't have to do this like enemies, you and I, we go too far back for that, just talk to me, I'm not the villain you think I am. He stared at the message, then deleted it. A week later, she walked into his office unannounced. Nathan wasn't with her. Her makeup was subtle, she wore flats instead of heels, a cardigan instead of couture. The comment section would have said she looked pure. He didn't look up. Adam, she said softly, I'm here because I want us to be civil. He set his pen down. I don't want to fight, I'm tired, you're tired, we've said awful things, but I know you're not as cold as they say. Silence. I know you're angry, but we don't have to drag this into court, I can retract the interviews, the post, just, come home. He finally looked up. His face was unreadable. You tried to burn me alive, he said. She flinched. You set fire to my name, my company, and the one person who never did anything but help me. And now you want to talk? I was emotional, she whispered. I was hurt. You ignored me. You weaponized a lie. She took a step forward. I still love you. He reached into his drawer. Took out a thick envelope, slid it across the table. She looked down. Divorce agreement. She blinked, her lips parted. You're serious? Adam's voice was flat. Sign it. Adam. Now. She stared at the papers. And for the first time since her rise, since her stream, since her campaign of curated victimhood, Janet broke. Tears gathered at the edges. Can we at least talk, without the papers? He shook his head. You can't undo this, Janet. You don't get to break a man publicly and ask for a quiet fix later. I was scared, she cried. I didn't know how to reach you anymore. You wouldn't feel anything. That's not true, he said. I felt everything. I just didn't show it. He stood. Walked around the desk, picked up the pen, held it out. Sign it. Her hands trembled. The live comment section wasn't there to defend her now. Only silence. Only consequences. Only the man who had once built his world around her and was now quietly, methodically, burning the bridge she thought would never collapse. Janet arrived at Adam's office the day after she received the divorce agreement, this time, dressed down. No designer heels, no diamond earrings. Just a pale sweater over a long dress, hair tied in a low ponytail like it was some costume of humility. Her assistant whispered something to the receptionist and the doors opened. Adam stood behind his desk, back straight, reviewing supply chain projections. Catherine was seated across from him with a tablet in hand. Janet didn't look at Catherine. Can we talk? She asked Adam, her voice practiced, soft, delicate in a way that begged to be heard. We are talking, Adam replied without emotion. Alone. Catherine closed the tablet and stood. I'll step out. Janet didn't thank her. She waited until the door clicked shut, then slowly approached Adam's desk. I know I messed up. Silence. I panicked, I felt abandoned, and I thought if I made you jealous, you'd finally fight for me again. Still nothing. I wasn't trying to destroy you. Adam set down his pen, looked her in the eyes. You made the world believe I was abusing a pregnant woman. She swallowed. I was desperate. I thought you didn't care. I thought maybe if people saw how hurt I was. People? His tone remained perfectly level. Or your audience? Tears pooled. Adam, please, let's not do this like strangers. I'm pregnant. This isn't good for me. You should have thought of that before broadcasting your womb to the world like a prop. She gasped slightly. How can you be this cruel? I'm not cruel, I'm calculated. There's a difference, one you forgot I had. He reached into his drawer again. She flinched, expecting more papers. Instead, he pulled out a flash drive. He placed it gently on the desk between them. Take it, he said. What is it? Everything. She stared. He leaned back. The messages you deleted, the edited captions. Nathan's little voicemails to H.E. His friend bragging about being the real man behind the scenes. The uncropped version of that photo you sent me, the one with your necklace reflected in the headboard mirror. Same necklace you wore to my birthday dinner, same bed from the hotel I booked. Janet's face drained of color. You were sloppy, he said, and I was patient. Her lips trembled. You wouldn't. That's our private life. No, he said, that's public evidence. The only thing I kept private was my silence, until now. She stepped forward. I'll tell them I was wrong. I'll delete everything. Just don't ruin me. I'm not ruining you, he said softly. I'm just turning on the lights. Suddenly, she collapsed. Her knees hit the carpet as her body folded over itself, sobs ripping from her throat. Then her whole body stiffened, and she screamed, a blood-curdling, guttural scream. Adam's heart stopped, not from pity, but from instinct. She clutched her stomach. Blood hit the floor. His hand slammed the intercom. Call an ambulance. They rushed her to the hospital. Adam didn't ride with her. He arrived later, hands in his pockets, as a nurse guided him to the hallway outside the emergency unit. Catherine stood there too, having come when his assistant called. He didn't speak. The doctor came out, grave-faced. The fetus is intact, for now, but she needs rest, and calm. Catherine asked, can she be discharged? Not today. They stepped inside. Janet was pale, hollow-eyed, hooked to a saline drip, but she smiled faintly when she saw Adam. I knew you'd come. He didn't answer. She reached for his hand. He didn't give it. The next morning, Janet posted a hospital selfie. Caption, even now, he's here, silent, but present. That's enough for me. The post hit 1 million views in 6 hours. Sympathy poured in. She's so strong. He must love her deep down. Forget the haters. This woman has been through enough. Hope he learns to appreciate her. Maybe this is a second chance. Adam didn't comment. He let it rise. Then, on Friday morning at 9:00 a.m., he dropped the files. Screenshots, videos, metadata logs, side-by-side images of edited versus original content. Nathan's voicemails, laughing about how easy it was to play the public. Chat logs of Janet mocking her followers, calling them emotional livestock. And that photo, the one she had sent him, the uncropped version. Her phone visible in the mirror, the timestamp 1 hour after Adam's quarterly investor pitch, the same day she had cried on camera about being left alone. He released a short statement. I've been called a lot of things these past months, cold, absent, abusive. I stayed silent out of respect, but silence is not consent. This is the truth. It was surgical. Within hours, the comment section erupted. She lied to us? No way, she staged all of it? I defended her for weeks. So Nathan really was the side piece? That video of him mocking her fans, I'm disgusted. She faked victimhood while sabotaging her husband. I literally cried for her. I feel sick. Catherine deserves an apology from all of us. Catherine's inbox changed overnight, from hate to apologies, from threats to praise. She released nothing, just a quiet message. The truth doesn't need to scream. Janet, however, imploded. Sponsors dropped Nova instantly. Investors pulled every cent. Public backlash became a wildfire. TikToks exposed her lies frame by frame. Reddit threads compiled timelines proving manipulation. Even her fanbase turned on her. Protesters showed up outside her condo. Signs read, "Justice for Adam. Stop weaponizing pregnancy." Manipulation is not love. One morning, she tried to sneak out in a hoodie. Someone recognized her. An egg hit her shoulder, another struck her bag. A third splattered across her sunglasses. The paparazzi swarmed. Flashes, questions, screams. How do you respond to the recordings? Why did you lie about the baby's father? Do you regret attacking your husband's reputation? Was any of it real? She shoved past them, ran to her car, and slammed the door. Inside, her hands shook. Her phone buzzed, hundreds of missed calls, threats, mockery, cancellation. She opened her social app one last time. Her follow count was dropping by the second. One comment stayed pinned to the top. You didn't just lose your husband, you lost the world's respect. The courthouse lobby smelled like dust and stale perfume. Adam stood by the marble column near the reception desk, flipping through the final asset documents. Across the lobby, Catherine waited with the legal team, silent but steady, her presence as precise as always. They'd finalized everything. All that remained was Janet's signature. She was 27 minutes late. Then the door opened. Janet stepped in, not in business attire, not in somber black, but in a school uniform, navy skirt, white button-down, even the ribbon at her throat tied exactly like she used to wear it in high school. Her hair was braided down one side. No makeup, nothing curated. It was the same uniform she'd worn the first time Adam told her he loved her. She walked up slowly, eyes locked on his, a small nostalgic smile on her face. Remember this? She asked, twirling the ribbon between her fingers. You said I looked like the sunrise back then, remember? Adam didn't blink, didn't move, didn't give her the expression she was trying to fish out. Things were easier, weren't they? She went on softly. We were just kids. Before the company. Before Nathan. Before everything. He handed her a pen and the folder. Sign. She paused, looked down at the pages. Her hands trembled. I'll behave, she whispered. I'll change. We can start over. I can give you another baby. Adam's face didn't move. There is no future. Her smile cracked. Her fingers hovered over the page, and then slowly, she signed. Stroke by stroke, the ink bleeding slightly from her pressure. She stared at the signature when it was done. Her chest rose and fell as if she couldn't breathe. Then, she collapsed forward in the chair, head bowed, body trembling. From the side doors, Nathan walked in. He didn't speak to Adam. He went straight to Janet, crouched beside her, whispered something only she could hear. She jerked her head away. I don't want you, she choked. Nathan froze. What? She stood, still trembling, but not looking at either of them. You were never the one I wanted. You were just noise, a mirror I used to see if Adam would flinch. Nathan's face crumbled into something bitter, something broken. He turned to Adam, fury bubbling under the surface. This is all your fault, he hissed. You ruined her. Adam's voice was steady. She ruined herself. You stood there and watched, always watching, never acting, like a statue with a pulse. That's not love. Adam stared at him. No, it's survival. Nathan's teeth clenched. He lunged. Security moved too slowly. Janet screamed. Adam didn't flinch. Even as Nathan's fist came flying, even as the sound of chaos cracked through the air, Adam stood still. But before the hit landed, Janet stepped in front of him. Nathan's arm collided with her shoulder, a sickening crack. She dropped to the floor. Silence followed. Even Nathan froze. Blood trickled from the edge of Janet's collarbone. Her face twisted in pain. Her body convulsed once, and she tried to stand, but collapsed again. Security tackled Nathan, slammed him to the floor. Adam looked down at her. She looked up, eyes glassy with pain, and whispered, I protected you. He said nothing. She reached for him, fingers twitching. Say something. He turned and walked away. No pause, no glance back, no moment of hesitation. Catherine joined him at the steps outside, where the flash of cameras were already waiting. Protesters who had once cheered her downfall now parted like water. A journalist shouted, Mr. Wang, do you feel vindicated? He kept walking. Another screamed, what's next for Wang Global? He reached the car, opened the door, and slid in. The driver didn't need to ask where. The engine purred, the doors locked, and the city faded into glass. On the dashboard, a live stream played muted footage of Janet being wheeled into an ambulance. Paparazzi crowded the sidewalk, shouting her name. She didn't lift her head. Inside the car, Adam closed his eyes and leaned back. Wang Global's stocks had tripled. The new East Suburban project had been revived with foreign investment. The false narratives were shattered, the vultures fed, and silence restored. Not peace, silence. And in that silence, Adam smiled faintly. As expected, a man who lives for himself is the most unstoppable of all.